everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jodie if you have never been here before. I'm quickly popping in at the beginning of all of my makeup collection videos now. So if I look the same as similar videos, that is why. I'm just popping on to say that this video is it's not a brag or anything like that. I just want to show you guys my makeup collection. I personally absolutely love watching these videos, and I've always wanted to be able to do them. I literally buy 70%, 80% of my makeup collection, and the rest is just bought by friends and family for me for like Christmases and birthdays and things. So yeah, I don't mean to brag. I hope it doesn't come across that way, and I'm sorry if you feel it does. But if you're someone that likes watching these videos, sit back, get a cuppa, relax, and I hope you guys enjoy. So this is my foundations, powders, primers and concealers drawer. Not gonna lie, it's a little bit overflowing at this point. I do think I need a new system because I have foundations back here that I forget about because they're back there. So it definitely needs like a bit of a revamp. But for now, this is the drawer. I just have an IKEA cutlery divider in here, but you'll see that a little bit more as I talk through them. I'm going to start with my foundations that are here first. So on top, this is my only high-end foundation. I definitely need to invest in more high-end foundations, but they're something that is never top of my list in terms of buying, just because they don't excite me as much as the likes of eyeshadow palettes, which is why I have so many of those. So this first one is the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. Mine's in the shade Almond, and I'm not gonna lie, it is too dark for me. If I buy this again, I'm definitely gonna have to get at least 1 to 2 shades lighter than this one. But I bought this one because it was on such a good offer. I bought it off one of Make Me Up Miss's sausages. So I've been loving this, and I just take, if I can find it, I just take a little bit of the MUA Custom Colour Foundation Mixer drops in, and the two together work really well. These don't change the formula of your foundations, however they don't sell them anymore, so yeah, I don't know any other alternatives. That's going to be interesting when that runs out. Next, along the top, I don't know if you'll be able to see very well, but I have all of my Revolution foundations because I'm a sucker for a Revolution foundation. So I'll do those ones in a minute. I'm going to do the ones at the back because when I move these ones, all these are going to fall. So I've got the Maybelline Dream Urban Cover foundation. I really enjoy this. Mine's in the shade 100 Warm Ivory. It is one of my favourites. It is a little bit more on the yellow tone side, but I find with Maybelline foundations that they do go more on a yellow tone than a kind of pinky or neutral tone. I feel like this looks a lot more kind of paler on camera than what it is in real life, but this one is my perfect kind of shade if I am feeling a bit more full coverage, and it's got SPF 50 in, which is amazing. Then I've got the Collection Last Imperfection Weightless foundation. I feel like they were trying to dupe the NARS one with this. I don't know if you can still get this one because they repackaged a lot of their range, and I don't know if this one's still available, but I have the shade Cool Ivory, which is #1, but I don't know if it's #1 in their new packaging. I really like this foundation. I think it's really, really good. One of my favourites is this one, which is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Matte Coverage. To say I have dry skin, I adore this foundation. I have mine in 110 Vanilla Rose. I just really like it. I know it's not cruelty free or vegan, which I do prefer cruelty free brands, so I won't necessarily re-buy this one, but I definitely want to find one that's really similar because I adore this. 9 times out of 10 this is the one I'm wearing in my videos, unless I say otherwise, because I think for filming and just everyday use it's so good, and a little goes such a long way, so I definitely recommend that one if you've not tried it before. Then I've got the Collection Last Imperfection Matte Foundation. This one is in #4 Extra Fair, and it's their new repackaging. It's their new packaging for this range. I used to use this foundation years ago when I was first just dabbling in makeup. I wouldn't say I did it very well. I want to use this one and the concealer in a video, so that is coming soon, I promise. I'm just a little bit behind with certain videos that I want to post alongside new launches that are coming out, so I really need to sort my scheduling out basically. But yeah, so I'm not going to say whether I like that one or not until that video, because I have tried it. I wanted to try it a few times before I filmed that video as well, just so I had an idea of how it wears and things. Next we've got the Wet n Wild foundation. This one's the Photo Focus one, and mine's in the shade Nude Ivory. I like this foundation. I don't use it too much. I don't really know why. It's alright. It's not my favourite. Next I've got the Mua Pro Base Longwear Matte Foundation. This one's in 110. I do really like this. It is, again, like the Wet n Wild one. It's a spatula, which they're not my favourite foundations. This one's, again, okay. It's not my favourite. It is a little bit more on the drier side, but it is a good all-round foundation. I think it's only £5, so it's super cheap as well. And then I've got the Primark Double Coverage Matte Foundation. I think this one's meant to be a dupe for the Estee Lauder. Mine's in shade Porcelain because I'm quite pale. Haven't used this one in a while. I tend to mix this one some of my other foundations. It's a good one. I just don't wear it alone because it's a bit too full coverage for my liking, but it's really good for the quality. I think it's only £5, so it's really cheap. Then I've got the Revolution Pro foundation drops. If you have never tried these, oh my god, please go and buy them. They are so good. These particular ones are in F3. I normally get F2. I just find F3 in all of Revolution's range are just always too pink toned personally for me. But I love this stuff. I think this is my 3rd bottle of it. I love it that much. You can have a really light coverage, but it's enough to cover like spots and things, or you can really build it up and make it more full coverage. I personally think they're really good for drier skin because they stay on all day. It's one of the only foundations that I can wear that it really doesn't budge. I really like that one. Then I've got 2 foundation sticks. So the first one is just the Revolution one. When I first bought this, I absolutely loved it. This one's in F2. But as time's gone on, I've liked it less and less, and I hardly reach for it. But I have it there in case I want to do a video or anything with it. And I don't think there's too much left of it either. And then I've got the Primark foundation and contour stick. I really wanted this in like the caramelly kind of shade because Jordan Lipscomb raves about it, but I can never find that shade. I can only ever find pale shades. So I bought this anyway. I don't think it was very expensive. Again, it's in porcelain. I do like this. I just don't reach for stick foundation very often. Next, we've got L'Oreal True Match. This one's in 1.N. I love this stuff. I was always hesitant to buy this because I always used to see like oily skinned gals, but I absolutely love it, especially if I put the right combination of primer underneath. This can work so well. Like I keep saying, the colour on the camera is a little bit more, making everything look a bit more pale, but this is the perfect shade for me as well. And they have a really good shade range, and I think it's under £10 as well, so even better. This one is one of my all-time favourite foundations. I have had bottle after bottle of this stuff. It was the first proper foundation I ever bought and tried and wore. They have, yeah, they've repackaged and things over the years, but this one I have in 10 Light Porcelain, and it's just my favourite. Whenever my skin goes through phases where like certain foundations it just won't work well with. It can work well with them for like a few weeks and then all of a sudden it just doesn't want to, and I can guarantee I can come back to this foundation and it will work for me every single time. So I always make sure I have a bottle of this, and this one is basically brand new. Love that. Next I've got the Revlon Colour Stay. This one's the normal to dry skin one. And it's in 110 Ivory. It's actually my mum's, but I've been loving it, so I have been using it. And although I've been using it, there's literally hardly any like gone. It's still full. I've been loving this foundation. Again, it's another one I've always wanted to try. I always used to see YouTubers back in the day talk about this one, and I can understand why it is really good. Again, not too expensive. It's like one of the only things I own from Revlon. And then I've got the Maybelline Superstay 24-hour full coverage foundation in the shade 05 Light Beige. I'm not gonna lie to you, I really don't like this foundation. I really can't get on with this. I did the first few times I tried it, and then after that I just have not managed to make this work for me. I just can't get it to sit nice on my skin. And there's another foundation I'm going to talk about in a minute that I feel exactly the same about as this one, and I wanted to love this because the likes of Soph love it. I just can't love this foundation. I think Missa loves it as well, but I keep it in my collection because I want to make it work for me one day. Like, I want to find a good combo with it. Okay, the other foundation that I was talking about I really don't think I like is this one. This is the XX Liquid Skin Foundation Double Fix Foundation, and I've got the shade 2.5. I can't get this one to work on my skin, and I think it's the same as the Superstay in the sense of it is too full coverage and my face hates it, and I can't get on with this. Anybody's going through the same thing and has any tips, please let me know, because this cost me £15, which doesn't sound a lot, and to a degree it's not, but also that's a lot. And I want to love it and I just can't, and it's so frustrating. And then I also have the other one in their range. They have two. This is the other one. This one is the Glow Skin Foundation. This is their Luminous Foundation, and I have the shade 2.5 again. I didn't pay full price for this one, and I have used this one. I have used this one more than the other one, and I don't find this one as bad. However, I still am not the biggest fan of this foundation, unfortunately. I just don't think it sits that nicely on the skin. And I know a few other people that have just struggled with the XX foundations because both of them are quite full coverage. And I just don't think my skin likes that. This one is Conceal and Hydrate. This one's for F4, and I've also got F2. I stupidly bought F4 thinking it was going to be the right shade. Again, this isn't my favourite foundation, I'm not gonna lie, and I own two of them, which is so frustrating. I don't know if it's just the Hydrate range, which you'd think because I've got like dry, probably dehydrated skin, that this would be good, but it's not. I just find it can sometimes look a bit too cakey on the skin. I don't know, it leaves my skin with like this weird looking texture to it. If it does the same for anybody else, can you let me know please? I can wear it, but just it's not my favourite. Then my other favourite, along with the L'Oreal one that I talked about, is definitely Conceal and Define. This is my all-time favourite foundation, point blank. There was a point where F2 just looked too pale constantly on me, so I did end up going out and buying F4 to help it out a little bit, and I do tend to mix this one like with Conceal and Hydrate. I probably should just get over the fact that F3 is a little bit pink and buy F3. I'm not sure if they do 2.5. 2.5 is quite a good shade in the XX one, but I don't know if they do it in the Conceal and Define range. I just haven't looked because I don't need another bottle of it right now. I'm almost out of this bottle, which is F2, and I actually have a spare one, which is still in the cellophane. Waiting to be used, and I've took the stopper out of it. So basically normally there's a stopper, but I took it out so that I could get the last remaining bits out of it. This one just always sits nicely on the skin. I don't find it kind of cakes up or leaves me looking a bit like a crumpet. I just all round love this foundation, so if you've never tried it and you want to give it a go, definitely do. And then last but not least is the newest one to my collection, which is the Revolution Conceal and Glow, which I literally got about 4 hours ago in the post. Again, I've got F2 because I don't learn my lesson and I still go for F2. And I haven't tried it yet, so I can't talk about it, but I've got it because Makeup with Alex Kate loves it, and anything she loves, I have to buy. It's just the rules. Okay, next, I'm just going to do powders because they're there. So we have I Heart Revolution powder. This one is in translucent. This came, I think, in the vending machine 2019 Christmas. I adore this, and you can't buy it separately, I don't think. and I absolutely love it, but I don't want to use it up because then I can't buy it again. So I'm always in two minds whether to use this one or not because I love it that much. I don't really use it on my channel per se because you can't get it, but you can get these ones. So these are the I Heart Revolution loose powders. This one's coconut. It smells like coconut. It's amazing. And then I also have the peach one, which works perfectly. I know there's a few banana ones in the range. So yeah, definitely just look out for one that's going to be your kind of shade in one of these, because I think they do a lighter banana one and then a darker banana one and stuff. And for £5 you get so much product. Then I've got the Liqueura loose powder, which is meant to be a dupe of the Laura Mercier Silk Translucent powder. I really like this. I don't think you can get it from Aldi anymore, but it is a really good powder, and if your Aldi does stock it, grab it because it's great. Next I've got the only high-end powder I own, which is the Anastasia Beverly Hills loose setting powder in the shade Vanilla, and I absolutely love this powder. It is expensive, but if you can get it on offer, definitely do because it is so worth it. So the other loose powder I've got is the Primark Loose Mineral Powder in the shade Porcelain. This one's really cheap, and for the price I don't think it's actually that bad. I used it for ages. And then I just have some kind of normal powders. So I've got the Rimmel Stay Matte. I feel like most people have this in their collection or have had it at some point. This one's in Transparent 001. I don't really tend to reach for it that often. Then I've got the Primark pressed version of the loose powder. This one is pretty good. It's quite full coverage as well. Again, that one's in Porcelain. And then I have two Revolution Pro powders. So these are their skin finishes. I've got Opalescent, which I know Make Me Up Miss loves these. I actually bought this before she started raving about it because I noticed it looked like the MAC one, and I always wanted a MAC one. And then I also have Luminescence, which is more of a pinkier kind of powder. So they're all the powders. We'll do the primers. I'll bring the primers all here for you guys. You'll notice I have quite a few of like the same type of product but from different brands because they're the type of primers that I prefer. So first off, I've got the Mua Pro Base. What's this? Softening Facial Oil Stick. I need to use this more. I actually forgot that I even own this. It just looks like a massive balm that you put on your face. It's a bit weird, to be honest. They do different ones in the range as well. I just so happened to get this one, and I think they're like £5 maybe. Then I've got the W7 Princess Potion Complexion Booster and Primer. I really like this. It's really good. It smells amazing as well, and it's bright pink. Doesn't look bright pink when it's on your face, but yeah, it's really good, that one is actually, especially if you like kind of an oil primer, you'll like that. Talking of oils, this is the Revolution Pro Prime Oil. It's like their baking oil. I don't really reach for this that much anymore, but I used to love this matched with the foundation drops from Revolution Pro. Again, if you've got drier skin and you're after more of an oil, this one's really good, and I think it's only about £6. So yeah, I've had quite a few of those over the years as well. This one I haven't tried yet. It came free in a magazine, and it's the Onyx Primer, which is the black primer that I haven't heard the greatest reviews about, but I am quite intrigued by it nevertheless. One that you can't get anymore is the Freedom Pro Studio Strobe Cream. I've gone to declutter this so many times, and because it's still quite good when you squeeze it out, I've kept it. This used to be one of my favourites, and I can't believe there's still stuff left because I used to use this every day. Next, I've got this Primark Hydrate Enriched Skin Primer. To be honest, I don't know how there's anything left in this. There's literally not. I've literally used it all up. I bought it for a video that never ended up going up. Probably this time last year, to be honest. I didn't like it at first, but actually the more I used it, the more I did. I've got the Liqueura Snapshot Ready Illuminating Primer. I do have the silicone one, but I don't know where it is. So I also have that one. If you like silicone primers, these are what you're going to enjoy. This one is quite good for the price. Yeah, I think with Liqueura it's just a case of being able to find it, because I don't think they put much out into stores, and then people can't find them. So yeah, just go and check your local Aldi to see if they have any left. I think this is the last of the kind of one branded stuff. This is the Benefit Porefessional. I didn't know if I was going to like this, but I love it. I only put it on my pores, so I'd mainly put it on my nose and a tiny bit on my chin, and that's about it. I don't put it all over the face because I've heard a lot of people say it's quite drying. I just don't see the need to put it all over the face. I tend to wear two different primers. It tends to be a pore one and then either a mattifying or a hydrating one, depending on how my skin is. I really like that though. Ones that work just as good though are this range from Revolution. So they've got a pore blurring one, which I use quite a bit, mainly in videos when I do want to cover my pores up, but I don't want to use the Porefessional because obviously it's expensive. I'll use that one. Then there's the Hydrate one. It's actually my mum's, and then I ended up literally using it all. There was like hardly anything left in it, so I do need to replace this and get her a new one. Sorry mum. And then they've also got a mattifying one, which I find that my makeup, like my skin's quite dry, but if I've been out for a long time I tend to find I get quite like oily and then my foundation moves and stuff. So I bought a mattifying primer to see if that will help stick my makeup better, and it does the job. And I think they're about £6 each. They're pretty good, to be honest. And I've also got an illuminating one, which you can't tell because all the writing's rubbed off. It just about says Revolution on the top. But this was their illuminating one, which I had a few years ago and absolutely loved, but I actually haven't used this one. I just haven't reached for it. Then I've got more MUA ones. I should have done this one with the Pro Base, but I forgot all about it. So this again is from their Pro Base range, but these are like the liquid versions of the stick ones. So I've got the Moisturizing Primer. This has got vitamins E and A and tea tree oil in it, and I have been loving this primer. They are £4, but I'm not gonna lie, you don't get that much in them. Like, it says 30 ml, but it was already like half empty when I got it. So I definitely need to pick up another one because they are quite cheap, but I've really been enjoying them. If you've got drier skin or kind of any skin, they do different ones of these for all skin types, so definitely check them out because they're great. And then obviously I had to buy the banana one because Makeup with Alex Kate loves this, and anything she loves, like I said before, I have to buy. So yeah, this is the Banana Blur Primer, and again, like the Revolution Pore Blur, I only use this on certain areas on my face. This has got mattifying finish with vitamin E in it. I wouldn't say it's a mattifying finish. This is great. It does smell a little bit like bananas, but it's not overly strong. And then last but not least, I have my ELF primers. So I've got the Poreless Face Primer, which I love. This is a great primer. I don't know how much is left in it though. That is the only frustrating thing because you can't see. But I would recommend these. They're really good. And then these are their Putty Primers. So I've got the original Poreless Putty Primer, which is very heavily used, and I won't bring too close to the camera because it looks gross, but I use a brush to put it on with, so it's just where the brush marks have been. And this one is great if you've got big pores or just pores in general that you want to hide. This is 100% going to do it for you. I do tend to put this one all over, although I don't do that with my other pore blurring ones, just because it is quite luminous at the same time. But then I also have the Luminous Putty Primer, and this one is also so good. I haven't used as much of it, but this is great paired with this. If you have dry skin and you want to try this foundation, get this Luminous ELF Putty Primer as well, and the combination of the two is amazing. Would highly recommend these. They're about £8 each. A few more foundations that I said would be in the back, and then the last section is concealer. Then we can wipe it all down and pop it all back. So I've got the Primark Perfect Finish foundation. This one's in porcelain again. This is very thick. I also don't really get along with this either. In some very small doses I can get away with this one, but at first I detested this, hence why it's still quite full. The main reason why I got it is because it's only £2.50. like, I'm sorry, that's so cheap. Yeah, if you like fuller coverage, give it a go for the price. Then I've got the George Natural Lightweight Natural Radiance Foundation. Pretty good. I had two. I had a mattifying one and this one. I kept this one because I preferred it. It's not that bad for the price. I don't know if you can still get them though, because they were on clearance at one point. And then last but not least, I've got the Revolution Matte Base. This one's in F3. I do not reach for this one as much. This is not my favourite Revolution foundation either. It's not overly too bad. I just don't find personally it sits that nice on my skin in particular, but everyone's different. Yeah, it's just not my favourite. Hence why they're back there. Okay, so one more section left, which is all of my concealers, so let's get them out. So I think it's safe to say that I kind of like concealer. So this one is the 17 Stay Time Concealer. Now 17 isn't a brand anymore, but I only opened this probably like not even 6 months ago. I don't know how long concealer's supposed to last. This is 24 months from opening. So I am going to keep this, obviously. This isn't a declutter. But for anybody that's wondering, I've literally only just opened this, even though it is no longer available. It is one of my favourite concealers, and I was gutted when I found out that they weren't stocking 17 anymore. Next, I have a couple of Primark ones. So I have this one, which is the My Perfect Colour Liquid Concealer. I don't think they do these ones anymore because they kind of chop and change what ones they do. This one is in a really dark shade, so don't be startled that it is such a weird shade. It's in the shade Nude Beige. Back in the day, I used to use this concealer for my eyelids before I did my eyeshadow. I don't do that anymore. I don't know why I have this still. Just in case, I guess, I want to go back to doing that, but I like to use my P. Louise and Revolution base now. Then I've got this colour correcting fluid in a peach shade. I quite like it. And then last but not least, this was the last like Primark concealer I knew of. Whether they've changed it again now, I'm not sure. This one's the Ultra Long Wear Concealer, and as per, mine's in porcelain. I think this was like £2.50. I think I bought it in case I wanted to do a full face of Primark, which I still might do. If you guys want to see that, let me know down below. Next, I've got Essence. So these are the same concealer in two different shades. I love this concealer. If you have creasy under eyes, this is one of few concealers that I can actually, with the right combination of foundation and powder and things, can put on that doesn't crease my under eyes. So this one is the Essence Camouflage Matte Concealer. Got the shades 10 Light Rose and 20 Light Ivory. I tend to use Light Rose more, but this is such a good concealer, and I think it's something silly like £2.60. But I find it's hard to get hold of, and you can only really get it online on Wilko's. So yeah, definitely check it out if you find it in your local stores. Next, I've got the Mua Pro Base. Again, this one is in 110 to match the foundation. I don't really like the whole lighter under the eye thing on me personally, but personally just don't think that kind of lighter under eye suits me because I'm so pale. I just think it can make me look like I've got flashback under my eyes. It's just a bit weird. I think it suits more tanned people, but personally on me it just doesn't. I do like this concealer. I don't think there's much wrong with it or anything wrong with it. I just forget about it. I just don't think it's my favourite overall, but there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's like £2. Next, we've got Collection Lasting Perfection in its new packaging. I'm not gonna lie, I personally am not a fan of the new packaging. This one, again, like the foundation, is in 4 Extra Fair. Again, I have tried this, and I'm gonna say it in this video now, but I will also repeat myself in my collection video. I think this one is better than their old one. I don't know if they reformulated when they redid the packaging, but personally I just find this is liquidy and not as creasing as the other one. I found the other one quite drying. I've got the L'Oreal Infallible More Than Concealer in the shade 320 Porcelain. Don't know if this is the lightest shade, but I definitely think it's one of the lightest because it's quite pale. My lovely friend here on YouTube, and just in general, Lizzie, sent me this. She definitely did not buy the right shade for her, and she was sending me something else in the mail and said that she would also send me this, which I'm so grateful for. Thank you so much, Lizzie, if you're watching this. This is a really nice concealer. I've really been enjoying this one. I like to mix it with a slightly too dark concealer, which I'll show you in a bit. And I've really been enjoying the combination. It's really nice full coverage. Definitely, if you want a more full coverage concealer, check this one out. It is about £10 though, so it's a little bit more on the expensive side, but it's really good. Next, I've got the Liqueura Radiant Concealer. So this is, again, Aldi's makeup range. This one is in the shade Cream. This is definitely a dupe from the NARS. Yeah, it's definitely probably a dupe for that one. I've never tried it, but this is definitely a creamy concealer. It's quite good coverage as well, but again, like I've said with other Liqueura products, you just need to see if your local Aldi actually stocks them, because most of mine where I live don't. Next, I've got the only high-end concealers that I own, which are from Urban Decay. So I've got the All Nighter Concealer. Mine's in the shade Fair Neutral. This is more drying than the other one that I'll show. It's not my favourite out of the two because it is the more drying, and personally, under my under eyes, I like something that isn't as drying, but it is really good coverage. Overall, it is a pretty nice concealer. And then I have the Naked Skin Concealer. Mine's in the shade Fair Warm, and I love this concealer. This one is so hydrating. Definitely gives it a weightless feel, but it is also full coverage at the same time. I love this and I savour this because I don't know if you can get Naked Skin anymore. I got mine from like a kind of like a boutique place that does kind of higher end makeup at a better price, so I didn't pay too much for this, but I love this concealer. So the next brand I have is ELF. So this one is the hydrating one, and these two are the Camo Concealer, like the normal one. This is the one that I like to mix with my L'Oreal one because personally it's not the right shade. They basically did a massive shade range for the Camo one, and I believe there is a big shade range for this one too. But with the 16-hour Camo Wear one, they changed the shading when they brought out these ones, because two of these are meant to be the same shade and they are definitely not. So this one is Light Sand, which is a little bit too dark for me in the normal Camo range. This one is Fair Beige in the 16-hour Camo one, which is definitely just a little pinch too light. So they're quite good together. But this one is also Fair Beige. That is definitely not the same shade as that one. So please keep in mind, if you already have these ones, they are not the same shade in these ones. So be careful. But I absolutely love this one. This one's really good. It's very full coverage, but I do prefer this one. I just wish the shading was the same so that I could find a shade that matches me, because I just find that the shades in this one are really hard to find for paler skin. Where should I start? I'll start here. First, I have the normal Conceal and Define concealer. So we've got shades C1 and C3. Like the foundation, I like to go for C2. I just don't have it in either of these because at one point I thought I was C3 and at another point C1 I thought was better. So that's why I have two, and because these are the super size and I don't use them every time I do my makeup, they've lasted me ages. I do tend to use C1 either on its own or mixed with C3 or mixed with another concealer that is a bit too like dark or not enough coverage. I think out of all of these, this one might be my favourite. I just think it's the best. Next, I have two of the Conceal and Hydrate, both in C2. This shade is a lot better for me, and I was loving this at one stage, which is why I have one still in the wrapping. However, I think this is making my under eyes look more creased than what they were. I don't know if it's the hydrating element of it, and I'm pretty sure I've heard someone else say the same thing, that this one is just not great for under your eyes. Next, I have Revolution Conceal and Define Infinite. I really need a different shade in this. Again, I did not get the right shade. I decided to go for 1.5 thinking I was going to be clever. However, when it came, I quickly realised that this is the strangest colour for me ever. It's very yellow toned, like it looks like banana. I don't tend to reach for this all too often because it's not the right shade. And then the last thing in this drawer is the XX Concealer Super Fix Concealer in the shade 2. Yeah, I got this one 0.5 of a shade up from the foundations, which was the right move. And I actually really like this concealer. I know some people aren't the biggest fan of it. I've still got it in the box for some reason as well, but I know some people don't like this one, but I actually really do. The only criticism I have, it's really hard to get the dofer out of the tube because the tube is like so tiny, and then this dofer's got like a massive. Other than that, this concealer is really nice. Is a little bit more on the price side. I think this is £10, but that's only a couple of pounds more than the normal Revolution range, so it's not too bad. That is another drawer absolutely done. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to click the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.